Imagine a 14-year-old girl from Quezon City, Philippines, diving for 12 minutes in a heart-stopping crash, only to uncover a chilling secret that will shake your soul to its core. Picture shadows of darkness creeping through TikTok violent games, and hidden traps of pornography dragging our youth into despair, even driving some to take their own lives in silence. Are you ready to face the shocking truth Jesus himself revealed to her, a warning that could save a generation, or will you turn away from the light he offers? This is the story of Ana Rosario, a girl lost in the glow of her phone, her family torn apart by screens, her heart heavy with the weight of bullying and false beauty standards. On October 17th, 2023, in the pouring rain, her life changed forever when a jeepney collision flipped their motorbike, 3 times metal screeching, blood spilling, and her mother's cries piercing the stormy night. As Anna slipped into darkness, she had no idea she was about to meet the Savior, who would open her eyes to a battle raging in our homes, our schools, and our hearts. In the vibrant pulse of Quezon City, where the air dances with the rhythmic calls of vendors at Quiapo Market, and the gentle hum of Santo Niño prayers weaves through the narrow streets, lived Ana Rosario, a 14-year-old girl whose once bright laughter had faded into the cold glow of her TikTok screen. She was a soul full of dreams, her heart set ablaze by the thrill of volleyball, her spirit as vast as the shimmering expanse of Manila Bay. Yet beneath her youthful smile lurked a silent storm, insecurities gnawing at her, fueled by the relentless parade of filtered faces on social media that taunted her natural beauty, whispering cruel lies of inadequacy. Her mother, Rosa Rosario, a woman of unwavering faith and weary hands, from kneading dough for siopao at the bustling Quiapo stalls, rose each morning with a prayer on her lips, her heart a fragile vessel of hope and sorrow, as she watched her daughter drift further into a digital abyss, their once warm bond fraying under the weight of ignored calls and vacant stares. Beside Anna, her 11-year-old brother, Jun Reyes, wrestled with his own shadows, his nimble fingers mastering mobile legends. Into the late hours, his young face etched with dark circles and a temper that flared like a wildfire when schoolyard bullies mocked his every move, his cries of frustration reverberating through a home where family dinners had withered into a silent battlefield of glowing screens. This once tight-knit family, once cradled by the comforting aroma of Rosa's steaming pandesal and the shared joy of Sunday Mass at the Quiapo Church, now teetered on the brink of collapse, a poignant reflection of a Philippines grappling with a generation lost to the seductive pull of technology. The air was thick with the unspoken Anna's quiet tears over unattainable beauty standards, June's bruised spirit from relentless bullying, and Rosa's desperate ease drowned by the hum of devices that replaced their laughter with isolation. Across the nation, the youth sank deeper into a quagmire of social media addiction, their minds poisoned by the glitz of false perfection, their hearts scarred by online taunts and the insidious lure of violent games, while families drifted apart, their dinner tables cold and their prayers forgotten. It was a society on the edge, where greed for likes fueled depression, where pornography crept into young minds like a thief in the night, and where the disconnect between parents and children grew into a chasm too wide to bridge. Then on that fateful October 17th, 2023, a day that would forever alter their destiny, the heavens unleashed a torrential downpour, the streets of Quezon City transformed into a treacherous mirror of rain and peril. Rosa, her brow furrowed with determination, steered their weathered motorbike through the storm, her voice quivering, as she pleaded with Anna to glance up from her phone and guide them to the volleyball practice field, her maternal instinct battling the rising panic of blurred exits. But Anna, ensnared in the hypnotic sway of a TikTok dance trend, rolled her eyes and waved her mother off with a petulant sigh, her fingers too engrossed to care. In that fleeting moment of distraction, A jeepney emerged from the rain-soaked mist like a specter of doom, its horn blaring a mournful wail that pierced the downpour. Time seemed to halt as the collision erupted. Metal shrieked in agony. The motorbike flipped violently 3 times, tumbling across the slick asphalt in a cacophony of destruction. And Anna's fragile body was hurled against the pavement, her school uniform torn, blood seeping from her forehead into the puddles below, her favorite volleyball shoes mangled beneath the wreckage. Rosa's scream tore through the stormy night, a raw primal sound of a mother's heart shattering as she stumbled toward her daughter, her hands trembling as she cradled Anna's lifeless form, tears mixing with the rain. Jun, wide-eyed and trembling in the back seat, wailed for his sister, his game console shattered beside him, a symbol of the innocence lost in that instant. Paramedics rushed in their sirens, a distant cry against the chaos, pulling Anna's broken body from the debris, her face a mask of blood, her chest still. As the crowd gathered, whispering prayers and gasps of horror, Rosa clung to a rosary, her voice breaking, as she begged the Santo Niño for a miracle, unaware that Anna's spirit had already slipped away, carried into a realm beyond the storm, where a divine encounter awaited to unveil a truth that would shake the foundations of their fractured world. As the tumultuous echoes of that rain-drenched night in Quezon City began to fade into a distant murmur, Ana Rosario felt an ethereal tug, a gentle force, lifting her spirit from the shattered frame of her body, sprawled across the slick pavement. She hovered above the harrowing scene, her heart twisting with a tender ache as she gazed down at her mother Rosa, whose face was a canvas of grief tears and rain blending as she clutched a rosary, her lips moving in fervent prayers to the Santo Niño, each word a lifeline of hope amid her despair. Little Jun, his small shoulders trembling beside the twisted wreckage, sobbed with a rawness that pierced the air, his broken Mobile Legends console lying forgotten, a poignant symbol of innocence lost in the chaos, while paramedics moved with a determined grace, their hands striving to revive a life that had slipped beyond their reach. Anna's spirit yearned to comfort them, her silent cry of Mama June, "I'm still here," rising like a whisper, lost in the storm, unheard by the ones she held dear. Then a warmth unlike the chill of the rain enveloped her, a soft golden light piercing the darkness, drawing her upward with the gentle reassurance of candles glowing during the sacred Flores de Mayo, a beacon of peace amid the turmoil. The world below melted away, the wailing sirens, the relentless downpour, the anguished cries of her family, replaced by a luminous tunnel that cradled her like a mother's loving arms, filling her with a serenity that dissolved the pain and fear she'd carried for so long. As she emerged from the tunnel, Anna found herself standing in an endless field, the air rich with the delicate scent of ilang-ilang blossoms and the faint salty breeze of Cebu's shores, a place that felt achingly familiar, yet infinitely more profound. The grass beneath her feet shimmered with a light that seemed to radiate from every blade, a glow that came from nowhere and everywhere at once. And in that tranquil haven, a figure drew near, Jesus the Savior, she had learned of in the hushed pews of Quiapo Church, yet far beyond the static images of stained glass. His presence was a harmonious blend of warmth and strength, his simple robes alive with a light that pulsed from his very being, his eyes deep wells of compassion that gaze into the depths of her soul, seeing every late-night scroll through TikTok, every tear shed over a bully's taunt, every moment she'd turned from her family's love. Anna sank to her knees, tears cascading down her cheeks like a river of release, overwhelmed by a love so pure and boundless, it swept away the shame she'd hidden in the shadows of her heart. "Lord," she breathed, her voice trembling with a mix of awe and vulnerability, "is this heaven?" Before she could gather more words, Jesus stepped closer, his smile a radiant promise of hope, and his voice as gentle as a lullaby, sung by her Lola, yet resonant with divine authority, filled the air with a comforting embrace.
"Anna, my dear child, I have seen every tear you shed during those lonely nights, and I am here to hold you in my eternal love. You have left your body for a moment, but your soul still shines in my light.
His words flowed over her like a warm tide, a balm that healed the wounds of rejection and self-doubt. And in that sacred moment, Anna felt the burdens of her young life lift, replaced by a profound joy and a sense of belonging that transcended the noise of the world she'd left behind. His gaze held her a silent assurance that she was cherished beyond measure, and for the first time she felt the true embrace of a love that knew no bounds, a connection to the divine that filled her with a peace she'd never dreamed possible. As the tranquil expanse of the luminous field stretched out before her, Ana Rosario sensed a subtle shift, a tender invitation from Jesus as he guided her into a vast ethereal chamber that stole her breath and quickened her pulse with awe. The air pulsed with a celestial glow, and before her eyes danced thousands of screens, each a haunting portal into the lives of children and teens across the Philippines and the world, their faces bathed in the icy glare of phones and tablets. A cold dread settled in her chest as she watched them slouched over, eyes hollow, and unseeing fingers dancing mindlessly across TikTok, Instagram, and violent video games, their spirits ensnared in a digital web that mirrored her own past. Then a shiver coursed through her as shadowy, sinister figures materialized around each screen, their whispers, like venomous hisses, weaving chains of despair around the necks of these young souls, with every scroll, every like, every venomous word typed in anger. The terror escalated as Jesus drew her nearer, unveiling scenes that ripped at the fabric of her heart. On one screen, her dear friend Carla, once a beacon of joy with her infectious laughter, now sat alone, tears streaming down her face as she scrolled through a torrent of cruel messages from classmates, the chains tightening with each swipe, until a gut-wrenching vision flashed before Ana Carla's lifeless body, hanging in her room, a victim of bullying's merciless grip. On another screen, her own brother Jun, his youthful face gaunt and shadowed, erupted in fury over a Mobile Legends loss, the dark figure swelling with each violent outburst, a mirror to the rage that had shattered their family's peace. The parade of horror continued, girls posing for provocative photos in a desperate bid for validation, boys lost in the abyss of pornography that made the shadows writhe with delight, families fractured by an insatiable greed for online fame, and teens sinking into a suffocating depression forged by the relentless pressure of unattainable beauty standards. Anna's breath caught in her throat, her tears falling like a torrential rain as the magnitude of this darkness infiltrating her beloved Philippines and beyond overwhelmed her senses. Jesus turned to her, his gaze a blend of profound sorrow and boundless compassion, his eyes reflecting the pain she felt, yet shining with an unwavering hope that anchored her trembling spirit. His voice a harmonious fusion of warmth like a mother's lullaby, and the unshakable strength of divine truth filled the chamber with a love that steadied her racing heart.
My beloved Anna, these screens are the subtle traps of the enemy, where lies and isolation imprison the souls I love so much. But through pure love, sincere prayer, and deep repentance, you can lead them to my eternal light, where all chains will vanish like dew before the sun.
His words cascaded over her like a gentle stream, igniting a fierce resolve within her to combat this evil, to rescue her brother, her friends, and her people from the shadow's grasp, filling her with a courage she hadn't known she possessed. He guided her to yet another screen, this one a painful reflection of her own life. 500 hours surrendered to the seductive glow of her phone, precious moments squandered on selfies, instead of basking in the golden sunsets of Cebu, countless nights turning away from Jun's eager invitations to play, and times she'd ignored Rosa's tender stories to chase the fleeting approval of strangers online. The weight of that revelation pressed down on her, a crushing burden of regret, but Jesus reached out, his hand resting lightly on her shoulder, his touch a radiant promise of forgiveness and renewal.
Anna, you are not alone on this journey. I have seen every moment you lost, but I am giving you a golden opportunity to transform, to teach others that my love is beyond all the fleeting illusions of the world, and in me you find the strength to heal.
Tears streamed down her face, a torrent of guilt mingling with an overwhelming gratitude, as his love enveloped her, lifting her spirit and empowering her with a sacred mission to shatter the chains binding her generation and guide them back to the radiant light she now embraced with all her heart. As the luminous chamber began to fade into a gentle mist, Ana Rosario stood transfixed in the divine presence of Jesus, her heart brimming with an ache to linger in the sacred refuge where the trials of her earthly existence melted away like dew under the morning sun. The tender embrace of his love enveloped her like a soft breeze from the highlands of Baguio, and the prospect of returning to the turmoil of Quezon City, to the fractured bonds with her mother and brother, to the sinister shadows preying on her generation, cast a shadow of reluctance across her soul. She gazed into his eyes, those fathomless pools of mercy that held the wisdom of eternity, and felt a deep yearning to remain in this haven where the air carried the sweet whisper of jasmine, and the rustle of celestial winds cradled her spirit in a peace no technology could replicate. Yet as she parted her lips to voice her desire, Jesus drew nearer. His presence, a steadfast lighthouse amid her swirling emotions, his smile radiating a grace that quieted her restless mind. He offered his hand not with authority, but with a gesture of tender invitation, and his voice as melodious as the hymns sung during a Pampanga festival, yet as intimate as a Lola's bedtime story cascaded through the air like a stream of pure solace.
Anna, my beloved child, I am with you always like the morning sun that dispels the darkness of night, but your mother and June yearn for your return. You carry in your heart a message of healing, a call to love, to kindle a flame of hope for souls in darkness.
His words painted a vivid portrait of purpose, igniting a spark of determination within her that outshone her fears, as though he had sown a seed of bravery deep in her spirit. In the gentle flicker of his gaze, she glimpsed a vision of renewal, a family gathered in harmony, their voices rising in laughter like a chorus of angels liberated from the shackles of digital obsession. A scene so poignant it brought a tender ache to her chest. Jesus pressed forward, his touch upon her shoulder, a delicate nudge toward a higher calling, unfurling a radiant tapestry of light that threaded through the gloom she had beheld.
Anna, you are chosen by me to be my messenger, to bring my eternal light to hearts yearning for freedom and peace. Through you, my love will spread like a sweet river, breaking down the barriers of isolation and leading them to the peaceful shore that I long for.
The mantle of his trust settled upon her, not as a heavy load, but as a precious gift, infusing her with a resolve to embrace this divine mission. She felt the stirrings of a fresh dawn, an opportunity to reshape her narrative and the lives of those around her, guided by the unwavering love of the one who stood before her, pledging to walk beside her on every step of her journey back to the world she had left behind. With each word her spirit soared, emboldened by the promise that she was not alone, that his light would illuminate her path through the shadows awaiting her return. As the golden haze of the divine encounter began to dissipate, like the morning mist lifting from the bustling streets of Davao, Ana Rosario felt a jolt surge through her, a forceful pull yanking her spirit back from the radiant embrace of Jesus toward the harsh reality of her broken body. She awoke with a gasp, her chest ablaze with a searing pain, as if 1,000 flames danced within her senses, assaulted by the sharp beeping of hospital machines and the sterile glare fluorescent lights piercing the room in Quezon City General Hospital. Doctors and nurses swarmed around her, their voices a frantic symphony of relief as one shouted, "She's back! We've got a pulse," a miracle whispered. In awe, for her heart had ceased for 12 agonizing minutes, yet her mind remained clear, a testament to a grace beyond medical explanation. Her left leg throbbed with an unrelenting ache. A tube snaked down her throat, and her mother, Rosa, collapsed into a chair beside her, her face a river of tears that had flowed for 3 relentless days, her hands clutching a rosary as if it were her lifeline. Little John, his eyes red from crying, clutched a handmade card trembling in his grasp. The words, "Best Eight Ever," scrawled in shaky letters, a fragile olive branch from a brother she'd often ignored in her digital haze. The hospital room buzzed, with the energy of life returning, the clatter of medical carts and the soft hum of ventilators, blending with the distant laughter of other patients' visitors, a stark contrast to the stillness she'd left behind. Yet within this chaos, a transformation had begun to ripple through her family. Rosa, her voice hoarse from days of prayer, vowed to set aside the burdens of her Quiapo stall, her spirit renewed by the sight of her daughter's revival, while June, inspired by a newfound tenderness, abandoned his late-night gaming marathons to join her in quiet moments of reflection. They instituted a sacred ritual every evening as the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the city in hues of orange and purple. They gathered around a wooden table adorned with Rosa's freshly baked bibingka, their phones surrendered to a basket replaced by the lively chatter of shared stories and the rhythmic clack of playing sungka, a game that rekindled their bond. The air filled with the scent of coconut and the warmth of reconciliation, a stark departure from the cold silence of screens that once dominated their home. Beyond the hospital walls, Anna carried her mission into the vibrant pulse of her school, where the corridors echoed with the shouts of students and the rustle of textbooks. She gathered her courage, her voice quivering, yet resolute to share the vision that had changed her, speaking to classmates beneath the shade of acacia trees during recess. Some, like her friend Mia, listened with wide eyes, their hearts stirred to delete Snapchat after confessing nights of anxiety from online pressures, their mothers later sending grateful notes to Rosa. Others turned away their whispers, labeling her strange, their footsteps fading as they clung to their digital escapes, leaving Anna to navigate a lonely path. Yet, even in her struggles, she felt a shift within. When temptation tugged her toward a borrowed phone, the memory of those shadowy chains flashed before her, a warning that steadied her resolve. The world around her thrummed with life, the honking jeepneys, the vibrant street vendors, the distant tolling of church bells, yet she saw it anew, through eyes opened by a divine encounter determined to weave love and faith into the fabric of her community, despite the challenges that lay ahead. As the vibrant hum of Quezon City's streets filtered through the hospital window, where the distant clang of jeepney horns mingled with the lively chatter of market vendors and the soft tolling of Quiapo church bells, Ana Rosario sat up in her bed, her heart alight with a renewed purpose that pulsed through her veins like the rhythm of a sinulog drumbeat. The pain of her injuries had dulled, but the weight of her divine mission grew stronger with each passing day, a beacon guiding her through the chaos of a world teetering on the edge of moral decay. She gazed at her family Rosa, her eyes now bright with hope, as she hummed a hymn, and June, his smile, tentative yet warm as he sketched a Santo Niño drawing, knowing that the time she had been given was a precious gift, a fleeting breath in the vast eternity that Jesus had shown her. The realization struck her like a thunderclap. Life was a fragile thread, and every moment squandered on screens was a moment stolen from the love and light that awaited, if only she looked up. Her voice, once hesitant, now carried the weight of truth as she spoke to her community standing beneath the swaying palm trees of her schoolyard, where students gathered like a flock drawn to a shepherd's call. She shared her journey, the shadows that preyed on young hearts, the chains of addiction and bullying, the despair of false beauty standards, and urged them to reclaim their lives from the digital abyss. The time we have is a treasure, She declared her words trembling with emotion. And Jesus is calling us to lift our eyes, to feel the sun on our faces, to hear his voice in the quiet. Her call resonated, sparking small flames of change. Parents in barangays began setting phone-free evenings, their homes filling with the laughter of tumbang preso games, while teens like Mia led prayer circles, their voices rising like a chorus against the darkness. Yet Anna knew the battle was far from won. The world around her buzzed with temptation, the seductive glow of smartphones, the lure of online validation, the violence simmering in neglected hearts, and she felt the pull herself, a reminder of the human struggle. But with each challenge, she turned to prayer, her lips moving in silent devotion as she walked past the vibrant stalls of Quiapo, the scent of sampaguita garlands in the air. To you watching now, she extends a heartfelt plea. Put your phone down for just one day. Feel the breeze of a Manila evening. Listen to your family stories and whisper a prayer to Jesus. He's waiting to show you a love that outshines every like a peace that drowns out every taunt. She urges parents to be warriors of faith, to shield their children from the poison of unchecked screens, and calls on her peers to seek their worth in God's eyes, not in filtered illusions. The stakes are high, she warns, her voice breaking with urgency. The shadow of addiction, the specter of violence, the hollow echo of a generation lost could engulf them all. But hope remains a vibrant thread woven by every prayer, every act of love, every step toward reunion. I died for 12 minutes. Anna concludes, her eyes glistening with tears of resolve. And Jesus sent me back to tell you the choice is yours. Embrace his light, gather your loved ones, and let's save our future together before the darkness claims another soul. With that, she folds her hands in prayer, inviting all to join her in this sacred fight, her spirit a torch lighting the way through the vibrant yet perilous landscape of their world. As the vibrant tale of Ana Rosario unfolds, the core message shines clear in a world shadowed by social media's grip. Jesus offers a path to redemption through love, prayer, and family unity, urging us to break free from the chains of addiction and despair. This story is a wake-up call to reclaim our time, our hearts, and our faith. Before the darkness deepens, join us on the Pinoy Faith Stories YouTube channel. Subscribe now, share this video with your loved ones, and take action today. Set aside one screen-free day, pray together, and let Jesus guide you to a brighter tomorrow. Together, let's ignite hope and save our generation.